Come on, you've got to do this with me. Join me. Really? Can I get a whoop whoop? Wait, hold on. One more time. Are you ready? Because I literally had to get my ass up, leave my kids, sit in my room, curl my hair, all for you. You know, you did the same, right? But really cool, I didn't have to wear a suit. Yeah. All right, so can we do a whoop whoop? Whoop whoop! All right. Who's ready to talk about, I have a microphone, so I have to hold it today. It's really cool. Who wants to talk about the 6 mindsets of highly effective leaders? Okay, if you're here, it's a good sign that you care. Because the alternative is the 6 mindsets of highly ineffective leaders. How many of you are familiar with that? Oh, I've been there. Don't lie. Come on. How many of you have been there? Yeah, that's why you're here, because we kind of suck at the whole leadership thing. If we're really honest, suck's a cool word. You don't get to use it a lot, but you get to use it at future-proof, which is what makes it fun. So you get to ditch the pinstripes, and you get to say suck. And if you have me later with 2 drinks, it'll get even more interesting. Yeah, okay. So, hey, come on. We're just here to have a good time. What are the 6 mindsets of excellent leaders? You can go for boring anywhere else, genuinely. But if we're going to be on the sun and the beach and the sand and we're going to leave our families, maybe you brought them with you, and you want to elevate your work, your wealth, or your well-being, is that you? Hold on. I know there's beaches and sounds and all of that, but I just want to get really clear. Are you here to elevate your work, to elevate your wealth, and to elevate your well-being? Effing hell, yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we're at the beach. It's why we leave our offices. It's why we show up, because we want to deliver deep value to our clients. We want to create awesome experiences and lives that we love, and that's the goal. So here's what's really cool. McKinsey, you're all familiar with McKinsey, did some research on what makes an excellent CEO or an excellent leader. They surveyed thousands of people across the globe, you know, blah, blah, blah. Here's all the really cool stuff. Here's what we know. Here's what I know as a founder of multiple businesses. And you didn't even have to pay McKinsey to tell me this. Your job is a lonely job. It's a peerless job. How many of you come to conferences like this to get information and ideas and to exchange and connect and collaborate? Because when you're in your office all by yourself, what happens? You're like, this is great. I'm so brilliant. I feel so lonely. I think that idea was a good one, but I'm not sure. Is that just me? Like, I'm pretty good at what I do, and I still feel that way some days where I feel so alone. So here's what we know. Very few people excel in the CEO or the leader role, but you know what we also know? It's the world's loneliest job. So you're sitting there trying to be a leader. You're trying to find and elevate people and experiences, and you're on your own. So here's what we found about the leadership research. There are 6 mindsets of excellent leaders. How many of you are excellent leaders or want to be? All right, so excellent leader could be you're a solo firm and you're on your own and you have a part-time assistant and you've got to lead through that. And it could be you're a multi-billion-dollar firm and you have to lead through that. The research shows, like it or love it, there are 6 things that you can do, these mindsets that are going to fundamentally change the game. Are you ready? 1, direction setting. Are you really clear about what you want to do and how you want to do it? Are you willing to step into it in a really clear and confident way? We're going to talk about that. 2, alignment. Treat this soft stuff as hard. How many of you don't pay attention to the soft stuff? You're like, yeah, it's fine, it's good. It'll all catch up. No, that stuff actually matters. 3, how do you mobilize? How do you solve for your team? Psychology. 4, how do you engage people to create the experiences that you want to create? How do you embolden and envision and empower them to do that? 5, connection. Are you clear on the why? Most of you aren't. And 6, effectiveness. Now, this one I will get so hyped up about. Call me later, like I'm on a mission about this whole do only what you can do. Your job is to do energy-creating, revenue-producing activities that elevate your business and your life, nothing else. The problem is you spend 80% of your time doing other stuff. So we're just going to not do that anymore. So are you guys ready to talk about 6 mindsets? Hey, camera. Whoop, whoop. come on. I had to get up here. I had to fly on a plane. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we love to hear. 1. All right, this is going to suck because it's going to be uncomfortable. Are you ready? Be bold. I don't know about you. I started my first firm at 24. I knew nothing, literally nothing. I've done a lot of stuff since, and every single time that I stepped into what was next, bigger, bolder, do you know what I had to do? I had to overcome my fear. Anyone with me? Seriously, this is not like a qualitative question. I want you to just sit in the steepness of who you are and what you have done. How many of you have started a firm? Yeah, and do you remember what that was like when you were like, oh shit, what was I thinking? Oh my God. Great leaders embrace uncertainty. When we start, we are so big, we are so bold, we're so willing to put ourselves into the uncomfortable. And do you know what happens about 5 to 10 years later? We stop. And we're like, oh, we're making a little money. Things are good. I think I'll just come over here and be comfy. I'm going to sit on my couch. It's going to be amazing. And then we get stuck and we get stalled out. And we're like, why isn't it happening? And it's because it's like you settled in some way that you didn't mean to. So how many of you have ever taken a prospect and had a discount? Fibbers. You're such fibbers. Seriously, so I want you to think about leading in your firm. The number one thing you do is generate revenue via clients. Do we agree on that? Okay. So I want you to think about being bold as a leader. And I don't even want you to get up there into the big vision-y world. I want you to just start with, are you being bold? By bold, I mean confident on a daily basis. Prospect walks into your office and they're like, Julie, I love everything that you've done. It's been amazing. I've gone to your website. I've had a 20-minute call on the phone with you. We've had this 45-minute discovery meeting on Zoom, and I love all that value gosh, that value is amazing. Could I have that, please? But I think that value is worth just an eensy bit less than you do. So could I have all that awesome? And I wanted it 75% less than all those other clients who weren't smart enough to ask for a discount. And every time I pick up the phone, I want you to love on me like I'm the best thing ever. I want all your best advice and experience. Could I have that deal? What are you going to say? What's the answer? No, except that like 90% of the time, if we're being honest, you say yes. When I put it that way, you're like, oh no, that's a bad idea. And I'm like, I know, but that's kind of what's happening every day. If you've ever taken a prospect at a discount, that's what you're doing. You're not being bold. You're not leaning into your value and what you own and your possibility. You're leaning into the insecurity and the wonder and the uncertainty and the doubt. And that's cool, except there's a point where that success builds on itself. And now you've got a lot of those clients and you have to rejigger that business. So how many places do you have a vision? A clarity. I'm pausing for a reason in case you hadn't noticed. Great leaders embrace uncertainty. And I know, as a founder of multiple businesses, that there are moments where life kicks you in the gut, but you have a vision, a will, a desire to create something incredible that you have to overcome. So how many times do you let all those, what I call crisis of compromise, stop you? You give the prospect the discount, you lower the minimum, you don't deal with the partner issue. Like, where are the places where you're not being bold? And we're going to talk about 6 mindsets, and there are 2 that I really love, and this is one of them. When you started your firm and your practice, you had an idea, a belief about what was possible. And then life got in the way. And we shrink ourselves and we compromise. And we'll talk about this because what if and what if and what if. Really excellent leaders, according to McKinsey and their research, they surveyed over 5,000 leaders. Really excellent leaders are bold in the face of uncertainty when the market crashes, when things change. They don't shrink back. No, 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 no. They don't do that. What do? They lean in. I want to ask you, I want to challenge you, whoever you are, however big you are, I don't care. You know what I care about? You're in this room today on this beach in that chair because you see a possibility for yourself and your practice. How are you as a leader boldly stepping into that possibility, into the future? That's what future proof is all about. There are so many ways that we shrink ourselves, that we pull ourselves back. And when we get clear and conscious and empowered about who we are and what we do and the value that we can add, man, amazing shiznit happens. But I know when you sit in that fear, uncertainty, doubt, anxiety, and stress, you are like, I don't know. And I know when you get on the other side of that, amazing shiznit happens. So I want to invite you today to be clear about who you are and what you do and why it matters. I want to invite you to be conscious in how you're doing it. And when you do that, you get to make some very strategic decisions about how to be bold. And bold means, by the way, drawing a damn line in the sand. That's the opposite of what everyone tells you to do, by the way. You got to draw a line in the sand and say, here's who I am, here's what I do, here is what I stand for. And if you believe in this and that, I have amazing value to add to you. And if you don't, please move on. But we get so sucked into trying to solve and save everybody that we can't sit in that space. And I just want to encourage and invite you as leaders to do what I've had the opportunity to do, which is to just get clear, to get conscious about who you are and what you do and the kind of impact you want to have on this planet, and then get bold about getting to work and doing the work that actually is going to move the needle to elevate you and the people that you serve. And by the way, any minute that you're not doing that, and this is going to be so freaking hard, you're compromising. Could you please stop? You are so good at what you do. My clients, you, Michael Kitts, is amazing humans are out there elevating people, their work, their wealth, and their well-being. And every time that you shrink yourselves, you shrink your clients and their possibilities. And I would just like you to, I don't know, stop doing that. What if you just knew how freaking awesome you were and what amazing work you added to the planet, and you build systems and processes and procedures? You know, you did the practice management work. Talk to me about that later. You actually did the work to show up and build the practice of your dreams. It wasn't like a hoo-hoo wish list. Like, it was actually something that you showed up and did. How freaking awesome would that be? Ladies and gentlemen, join me? Yeah, thank you, sir. Assets over liabilities. I love that guy. Am I here by myself, you guys? They told me I had a clock. I have no idea how much time I have. It's going to be really amazing. Right, I could go on forever, as everyone knows. Treat the soft hard. The best leaders treat the soft stuff, people and culture, as the hard stuff. How many of you have people in your teams? So here's the one thing, because I have like 37 minutes and I've used like 20 of them. Here's what I'm going to tell you. And it matters. So please, he's like, oh my God, it's in giant numbers on the side of the screen, and I missed it. That's awesome. They're so great here. Like, literally, it's in giant numbers. How many of you have people that work for you? All right, cut that shit. They work with you. They work with you. So here's my number one saying about people who have people that support them, because we cannot do anything. So Stephen Covey has this great quote, and the quote is, are you ready? The whole point of a team is to work together so that each other's weaknesses become irrelevant. Bomb. Like, seriously, take that one back. What are your weaknesses? I know what mine are. You have them. As people, we tend to think of business as systems and processes and procedures, but when we treat the soft stuff hard, when people actually start to matter, then we take different approaches. How often do you check in? How often do you share the vision? So one of my favorite sayings is, are you ready for this? I want you to check through your mental list of all the things you do with your team and against this. Involvement equals investment. When I sit your team down and I'm like, here's the change we're making, here's why we're making it, I know it's been hard, I know it's kind of sucked, but this is the goal, and here's why we're doing it, and they're like, yeah, I'm like, yes, and I get them, and we go, and it's amazing. But if you're like, hey, Bob, I need more money so I can have a better bathroom, and I've actually had that experience, by the way. I'm like, you can't walk through the office and tell people about your bathroom. It's not cool. How many of you Genuinely, you don't have to raise your hand. But when we think about people, I want you to think about your whole life. This is kind of a game changer. What's your life defined by? What are your possibilities? What you're able to do? What's it defined by? People. It's about the people that elevate you, support you, love you, grow you, give you joy, that are there. Our job as leaders is to show people the way, and we are awful at it. Nothing personal, me included. I have to really, really, really work at it. Job descriptions, check-ins, visions, career ladders, comp plans, all those things that actually matter. We're like, but I'm a cowboy and it's awesome and you just follow me into the sun. Except that they're not cowboys and they don't follow you into the sun. Like, you have to lay the tracks for people to come with you. And so as leaders, our number 2 job outside of being bold is to be inclusive. I want you to ask yourself, have I shared my vision, my goals, my values with my team, their roles and responsibilities, how they succeed in the role, how do they get to the next level, how they elevate themselves? If every single person on your team is not clear on that, they're not clear on how to help you be more successful. Period. Like, it's not glamorous, but we love to be like, oh, we pay people, it's all good. But we have to treat the soft stuff as the hard stuff. We have to really start investing in the people. I want you to ask yourself, when you leverage yourself to those energy-creating, revenue-producing activities that you love, that elevate you, give you joy, and grow your revenue, income, and profit, what's happening behind you every time? Anybody? People, process, and platform. That's what's happening behind you. And people are the number 1 key to that. So if we're not growing our businesses through the lens of how do we elevate our people as we elevate ourselves, then we're compromising on our capacity to impact our possibility. And it's like one of those things that gets tucked into the corner, but I'm going to tell you, this shit actually really matters. Really matters. You get amazing people on your team who are all in, who will do anything because they love you. Anyone ever been there? How cool is that? I have never, in 27 years, ever asked someone to work late. Ever. Do they work late? Yes, they do. I've literally never said, I need you. They are just so invested in the vision, the goals, and the outcome, and the results, and the impact that they play, because we have a process for really seeing and developing our people that it really matters. And your third step is you've got to solve for psychology on your team. How many of you feel like you're doing this on your own? Yeah, that sucks, right? Like, if we're being honest, do you ever feel like, Jesus, I'm just sitting here and I'm doing all this hard work and I'm really trying to rally the troops and do this amazing stuff, and it just feels like I'm climbing the mountain? Yeah? For sure. But what about your team? You are not a singular unit. You can't create success without building an ecosystem around you. That ecosystem is people, process, and platform. And people are the biggest part of it. I love tech and systems. We'll talk about it all day long. It's amazing. But if you're not every single day sitting in the space, this is hard truth, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not sitting in the space of who are my people, how am I elevating them, what do they need, how do I grow them, how can I help them contribute to the success of my firm and goals, then you're not showing up in the fullest version of you, because that's what they need from you. Excellent leaders show up for their teams. They think about their teams. They think about psychology. What do they need? And we think about basic systems like, job descriptions and check-ins and career ladders and compensation plans, and all those things radically matter. Do you all have those things? So I just want to say this to you with all the love in my heart. I started my first firm at 24 with no experience. So, obviously, I get it. When I started, there was no person behind me. There was no team. But I sat in that space of what's next and what's possible. So when you sit there and you say, what's next for me, are you clear on what you and your team can do together? Do you have a system for that? That's the crazy thing. Like, oh yeah, I love my people. It's awesome. It's cool. But do you have a system for elevating your team's performance in psychology? And that is not terribly hard, but it's very systematic and basic. And there's one of those things that we really tend to skip over. Excellent leaders don't skip over this. Help stakeholders help the business. The best leaders are productive in building relationships with team members. Who's your team? Clients, advisors, stakeholders. How much time do you spend actually helping people invest in the success of your business? So we tend to get very focused on our results and our goals, but we don't tend to focus on the stakeholders. And you know what I know? Every single time, this is going to be just a gut punch, but it's true. When you stop and you think about the people that help you create your success, do you know what happens? You find ways to help you be more successful. When was the last time you thought about every stakeholder in your business, your partners, your team, whoever it may be, and said, how am I stepping into the space of a leader to elevate their success so that they can elevate me? We tend to be so self-absorbed, and I mean this through the place of love, because we're so busy and we're so overwhelmed and we're just trying to get ahead. But all of your success, all of your success happens with and through other people, and you know it. I don't care if you have a part-time assistant or you have a team of 25 people. I've done both. You have to help the stakeholders, help the business. The problem is we're so damn busy all the time, struggling to get ahead. It's so hard to keep up. We can't even think about this kind of stuff. And that is your number one job as the leader, owner, founder of a firm, is how do I sit in a space where I can actually own the business and all of the facets that are going to create my success. It's not just my investments or my client experience or my advice or my practice management. Yeah, it might actually be about how my people show up and how I'm engaging and empowering them. I know this is like a high-level conversation, but what McKinsey found is the firms that pay attention to the stakeholders. So did you guys know this? This is really cool. Do you know what percentage of your firm's success is attributable to you? According to McKinsey, they have pretty good research. Any guesses? Julie, front row? Anyone? It's the interactive part. 46%. 46% of a business's success is directly, like direct line of sight to the leader. And then I would argue that the leader hires everyone on the executive team or the first-hand assistant in a two-person team, and that happens there. So it's you and you, basically. That's what it boils down to. But we don't spend any time thinking about how we show up for ourselves or for the other people. We just spend time doing stuff and grinding it out because that's what we've been trained to do. And that, by the way, is the stuff that's going to hold you back. Try this. So the fifth mindset of really successful leaders. Why? Show of hands. How many of you know why the heck you are here on this stage listening to me talk about leaders and awesomeness? This guy, I love him. Ready. Anyone else? We got to talk, man. Anyone else? What's your why? My why is to work 25 hours a week from a beach in Costa Rica, now also Park City, to help advisors elevate their work, wealth, and well-being. Man, I get behind that. I love that. I could do that all day long. Are you clear on your why? And then I have to constantly ask myself, because it's hard, what aligns and what doesn't align with that goal, because lots of stuff aligns, but not everything. And then you got to if you are not wildly clear, and I want to challenge you, you're going to take this away, and I hope it changes your life. Literally, it's that important. Dude in the blue shirt, draw a line. What's your why? I want to build a $25 million business in 25 hours a week. Why? Because y'all think it can't be done. That's why I want to do it. It's exciting. It's fun. If I don't, it's totally fine. But how effing cool is it that I think that's a cool idea? That's my why. I want to show people that you genuinely can accelerate your success without giving up the time and freedom, that you can do amazing stuff and love what you're doing. Now, maybe I fail at 18 million. That'd be awful. That'd be so bad. It'd be so bad, right? What's your why? So here's what I tell our coaching clients all the time. If you have a why that is strong enough, you will overcome every what if. But if you don't, you won't. And then you'll call me and be like, blah, 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 I have problems. Yep, that's going to happen. Is your why bigger than your what ifs? If you don't know it, if it's not clear, if it's not compelling, if you can't galvanize your team around it, it's a wah, wah, wah. Anybody know where wah, wah, wah comes from? Come on. So I heard it somewhere. Charlie Brown's mom. What did she say all the time? It was actually his teacher, someone told me. It's not his mom, same thing. He'd go in and she'd be like, wah, 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 wah. And be like, yep. And you kind of got the idea, right? Is your vision wah, wah, wah? Or is your vision crystal freaking clear? Here's who we are. Here's what we do. Who's here we serve. Here's why we're doing it. Here is the goal. And this is what I want to galvanize everyone around. And those are going to be the mile markers that I measure everything against. The problem is when we don't have a clear and compelling why, do you know what we do every single time? This is going to suck, but it's true. We compromise. We have a crisis of confidence. I don't know. What about that fee is okay? I don't know, that person's all right. My partner this. What I know, beyond every shadow of every doubt, is that when you're in your closet on your own, I sometimes sit in my closet and have meaningful conversations with myself. And I'm like, what am I doing? I know that when you're on your own, in your closet going, what am I doing? You've got a why that is so big and meaningful and awesome to you that you really want to step into it, and all you want is for people to get on board and join you, right? But if we don't align our business decisions and our behavior with our why, then guess what happens? We compromise, and we take the prospect that doesn't fit us. Here's an example of that. How many of you have ever taken a prospect that didn't fit you? Didn't meet your yet. Thank you for your honesty. I really appreciate that. The rest of you are liars. All right. And then here's what happens. That prospect has decided they have a need. They go to your website. They talk to you for 20 minutes. They come to your office, right? They're like on the phone with you in a Zoom or whatever for like 45 minutes to an hour. And they're like, man, that was freaking awesome. I love what you're doing, Julie. That's amazing. Could I have some of that? I love that value. Oh, it's incredible. Shit. Except, I forgot. Oh, this is future-proof. I can do that, right? I forgot. Damn, that value is so awesome. I want it. I just, I maybe think it's worth a little bit less than you do. So I want all that amazing value, Julie. I want the love. I want you to pick up the phone every time and treat me with the best of what you got. And I'm sorry about those clients who were too stupid to ask for a discount. Go them. Whatever. I'm the smart guy, and I want all the best of what you got every single time. Could I have every bit of your awesome for 75% less? And you say, yes. Oh, my God. It hurts my heart. Why would you do that? How many of you have done it? Don't lie. Why? Why? Because you're letting someone else define who you are and your value and whether you're worth it, and that is such BS belief systems. It's not even true. But when a prospect says to you, I think you're so awesome, I just think you're worth less, and you sit in the space of going, well, I think I'll shrink myself, that is the opposite of success. If you have a why that is bigger than the what ifs, do you know how, like I did a post on social this morning. I had a company try to buy me for millions of dollars last year. They were cool millions, by the way, awesome millions. And then I said, well, you know, I work like 25 or 30 hours a week because I have these kids, they're teenagers, they're kind of a pain in the ass, but I love them and I got to hang out with them for a couple more years. I got to be there. That's just my thing. I got to be there. So if you want to buy me for millions of dollars, it's super cool as long as you know I work 30 hours a week. And they were like, yeah. And then 2 weeks later, they were like, yeah. But, could we talk about this 30 hours a week? And you know what my answer was? Hell to the F no. Why? Not because millions of dollars isn't awesome. I've done it a couple times. It's really cool, actually. But you know what's not really cool? Looking your kids in the eyeball and saying, I'm not going to be here because I'm making somebody else richer. That's not cool. You have got to believe fundamentally and deeply in what you do and how you do it and why you do it, and then you will move heaven and earth. No one will have to ask you whether you work 25 or 50. When I'm on board, dude, I will do anything. I will be with my kids from 3 to 8 and then stay up until 3 in the morning, and they don't even know because I'm that effing committed. But if you tell me I have to be that committed, that shit ain't gonna happen. You gotta buy my vision. You gotta buy that alignment. If you don't have a why that is bigger than your what if, it will stop your ass in your tracks every single time. Every time. Every time. So here's my advice. Don't do that. Just don't do it. What's your why? By the way, you started a firm, right? Or you're in a firm, and there was like a goal, right? Like, I'm gonna do great work. I'm gonna be with great people. I'm gonna make great money. That we all love that. It's gonna be awesome. And then you're like, oh shit, this is hard. I gotta do all this stuff. It's not working out the way I wanted. Right? Is that just me? Julie? Okay. I'm like, am I alone up here? No. What's the why? If your why is not bigger than your what if, you will never get there. Ever, ever, ever. Because the what ifs are big, and they're hard, and they're difficult. But you got to have the reason to get over them. And if you do, people will follow you. All right, I think I'm out of time. That's what, he's right here. So my little clock's up. So last part, do only what you can do. This is my second favorite outside of why, because, by the way, how many of you are doing things that are not energy creating or revenue producing? Anyone who did not raise their hand, you're liars. Maybe like one of you is true. Honestly, when you wake up every day, you're like, it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna show up for my clients, I'm gonna do amazing work, I'm marketing, it's gonna be great. And then like 5 minutes in, you're like, oh my God, I'm in email, I'm doing this, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And like, right? Like, is that just me? It's not just me, right? Tell me it's not just me. Really? Someone, yeah. How many of you, I want you to think about your energy creating, revenue producing activities. It's like 10% of what you do on an average day. If you shifted the balance, the best leaders only do the things that they do that add impact. And you won't have a vision of that, but you don't always have the people, process, and platform in place to make it possible. But man, when you make that happen, it gets really cool. So your job, if you want to grow your firm and elevate your influence, your number one job is to stop doing shiznit that you can't do. Like, you can't build a multi-million-dollar firm doing $50 an hour work. I don't know how to make that happen. Just don't do it. You have to only do the things that you can truly and uniquely do. So if you want to take a quiz on the 6 mindsets, as the wind hits my hair, the 6 mindsets of excellent leaders, you can scan that code or text that number, and you can take a quiz to find out how you're doing. McKinsey did this research to really identify what elevated leaders beyond the average. My invitation to you, the whole point of Future Proof, is to elevate yourself above the average. I hope that these mindsets really help you elevate your work, your wealth, and your well-being as you think about how to elevate your practice as you move forward. You guys, it's been super fun. Have a great day.